Washington Commanders. All right, this is a team that I rooted for in many games last season, and it was because of the quarterback Taylor Heineke. And Heineke, it doesn't make any sense, right? He'll throw the ball, he'll close his eyes, and he just gives it up to Terry McLaurin. And it's not always pretty, but he wins games, all right? And there's something to be said. And the locker room likes him. Okay, I think if I'm the Commanders, the best fit is you have to go rookie quarterback. If you can get him, Anthony Richardson, if he drops to you. However, I believe that the perfect fit is Hendon Hooker. All right, Hendon Hooker to the Commanders. I think the Commanders have to start fresh, and Hooker will be a good value play at where they're projected to pick.
That is a very interesting take. I do think it's important to note, I do believe Carson Wentz is still tied to them through this year. So either they're going to cut him or there's some sort of salary cap situation. Maybe we should do a little bit more research on Carson Wentz's status, but want to throw it out there. So your take here is moving on and going with Hendon Hooker. I think that's a phenomenal draft pick for an organization. There are rumors that Hooker won't be available till maybe mid-NFL season because that injury occurred so late. Do you feel content rolling into the season with maybe Carson Wentz as your starter if you're the Commanders?
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, look, they're not going to – I don't know, right? Because the thing is they almost snuck into the playoffs this past season.
Sure.
Maybe.
I guess your argument's probably they're not going to likely win the division.
Correct.
Right? So you might as well, you already have Carson Wentz, go see if you can salvage anything, perhaps maybe get some trade bait out of it if he's playing well, and then you can pass the franchise off over to Hendon Hooker as soon as he's healthy. Am I right on that?
And honestly, I wouldn't mind, we mentioned him earlier, Andy Dalton as a backup there, right? Possibly starting some games for the Commanders as well.
I love that. That seems like a team that he's probably already played for. You know what I mean? It's one of those, just you feel like, Andy Dalton would be playing for them. But I love your take. Let me go ahead and give you who I had here. So I actually had a very similar answer to you, and I think you're going to like this. I had draft top quarterback. And what's interesting about this is I could see them maybe using some trade bait and moving up and maybe getting a Levis or maybe being able to move up and maybe going with a Richardson. I could see both options on the table for them depending on how many draft picks that they would want to give up. The other option here is, and this is kind of where we go back into the free agency portion, I think there is a potential fit here, and I think Sam Darnold is the guy. He just seems like he could play that offense. I'm obviously looking at Heineke leaving due to the disrespect the organization has already shown him. I like it. A cheap one-year option for Darnold, and honestly, you could still go and draft a top quarterback, and then your quarterback room, you've got a Carson Wentz, you've got a Sam Darnold, and you got a rookie. I think it's a good room.
And let's throw something out. Any possibility the Commanders trade for Jimmy G?
Dude, I don't know. Look, if you go and trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, you're going to be giving up something, correct? So my thought process here is, why would you do that if you know the division's out of reach? You're clearly the fourth best team in that division right now, and it's tough because they could be first in some other divisions if they figure out this QB situation. But based off where everyone else is, I just don't see it being plausible. I don't see why you would go that route.